Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to present to you today the alphabet that I've created. Since I was a child and learned to read and write using the Writing Road to Reading method by Spalding, where I learned the 87 phonograms, which is single letters or combinations of letters that make each sound, and the up to 5 different phonograms that make the same sound, and the up to 5 different sounds made by each phonogram. So, as I'm thinking right now, that's 87 times 5 times 5, which is about 2,000 sound letter combinations. So I think it's important to remember that this alphabet system I'm going to share with you is much, much simpler. I wanted to have one letter per sound and one sound per letter. This way, all you need to do is memorize the sounds of each of the 42 letters, and you can write English with perfect accuracy, where the writing exactly matches how you speak. Now, being from the middle of the United States, I speak a relatively standard American accent that has 42 vowels. If you're from the northeast of the US, or from the UK, Ireland, South Africa, Australia, or New Zealand, then you may have 2 extra vowels, which I'll get into a little later, because you, in those countries, don't have the cot-cot merger or the father-bother merger. You pronounced cot, C-O-T, the bed that you lie on, and court, C-A-U-G-H-T, the past tense of catch, differently. And you also pronounce father and bother, in which case you say bother, differently. I have 2 letters for that we'll get into, plus an extra letter for the flap T or the flap D, as in middle, riddle, and little. So with that brief intro, let's get into it. My alphabet has several features that I've not seen before. It's symmetrical, which means every letter is horizontally flippable without changing its appearance. You will see in a minute what I mean. Secondly, I've made the vowels short and the consonants tall, so it's easy to recognize which one is which. I've also translated the entire Bible into this script as a proof of concept, so you can see that this really works. I have also made 2 versions of the Bible, one written left to right, and one written right to left, and I also have sections of it written as boustrophedon, or boustrophedon, which means that the lines read in alternating directions. The first line is left to right, the second line is right to left, the third line is left to right again. That way your eye follows the line, drops straight down, and keeps going. The system is much easier to read with symmetrical letters. This was used by the Greeks in around 500 BC. They originally wrote from right to left, then switched to boustrophedon, and then from that switched to writing left to right as we do today. The problem with this is that it can affect right-left brain synchronization, because when you are reading from left to right, your right eye is leading, and because the body's cross-wired to the brain, you're getting left brain stimulation continually when you're reading from left to right. Whereas with Hebrew and Arabic reading right to left, your left eye is leading as you're reading from right to left, and your left eye is linked to your right brain, which brings right brain stimulation. So if you want to have more right brain stimulation and more emotional impact, number 1, read right to left for the above reason, and number 2, use a phonetic alphabet, because if every sound is compressed to one letter, it hits you with more impact. I've noticed when reading the Bible in my script, I'm more impacted by the words because you don't have a sound spread out across several words, as in through. That's 3 sounds, but it's spelled T-H-R-O-U-G-H. That's 7 letters for 3 sounds. In my alphabet, I have 3 letters. So every single letter is impacting you with the same force. And it does affect your emotions more as you read it, combined with reading right to left. So, I think we've covered the basics. Let's move on to our first letter. This is the letter pi. This letter looks like a P, as you can see. It's just been symmetricized. If you horizontally flip it, it looks the same. It makes the P sound when you put your lips together and then you release them. You notice that I have called this pi because I've given every letter a short, unoffensive name that in almost all cases begins with the sound the letter makes. We have a problem with our alphabet. Some letters, like B and D, begin their name with the sound they make. Other letters, like F and M, end with the sound they make, which is not consistent. In my alphabet, almost every letter begins with the sound that it makes. And I also have the letters in order, front to back as far as the articulation point. So I've arranged the consonants in the order of where they're pronounced in the mouth from front to back, and then the semi-vowels, also from front to back, and then the vowels from front to back. I got this idea from Sanskrit and the Devanagari alphabet, but I believe the Brahmi script followed this idea too. They have their alphabet arranged in order of articulation point, from front to back. That's a very smart idea. Now, I may be reversing it with Devanagari. They may make their sounds from back to front, but I believe it's front to back. You're welcome to check me on this. So this letter is called pi. Let's go to the second letter. This is boat. As you can see, it's a symmetricized B, just like pi was a symmetricized P. So it's a simple circle with a line up. And the other thing is the circle is on the bottom instead of on the top, as you have in pi. And that way, it helps you remember that this is a voiced letter, because the circle is below. You'll find other letters further down this video where if the circle is up, it's unvoiced, and if it's down, it's voiced as well. So this is the letter boat. This letter is called moon. As you can see, the bottom part looks like an M. It simply has a stick that stands up tall. Why is this? Because all the consonants are made to be exactly the same height, and all the vowels are made to be exactly the same shorter height. I lined them up down to the pixel very carefully in FontForge. So this letter looks a lot like our Latin letter M, but it is called moon. The fourth letter is called free. I designed it this way because the curve in the middle that points down points the opposite way of the letter vine, where that curve points up. It also shows that these two letters are related, that F and V are the same sound, except that V is voiced and F is unvoiced. You see the same thing with P, B, and M. P is the unvoiced version, B is the voiced version, and M is the long-voiced version. So now we have the letter free, unvoiced, and now the letter vine, voiced. As you can see, this curve now points up instead of down. In fact, this does look a bit like a vine. Pretty amazing, I think. What's the next letter? The letter thing. Also symmetrical, kind of an interpretation of an H and a T combined, which is what we have in our regular spelling system to indicate the th sound. But we use the same combination for the th sound, which can be inconsistent. But in this case, I've carefully fixed this by adding a vertical stick for the letter this. So th and the are two separate sounds, and that line on the bottom points down towards your voice box. Again, making it easy to remember. What's the next letter as we're moving back in the mouth? This is the letter tree. This is easy to recognize because it looks very much like the English letter T. Tree. And what's the voiced version of T? D. The letter door. It's the same as the letter that makes the B sound, except I have a horizontal line. So the letter boat is just a symmetricized B, but the letter door has a horizontal line to indicate that it is voiced. Next, we have the letter nu. This is the long-voiced version of the D sound, which is the voiced version of the T sound. So, this way, these sounds can be arranged in the mouth very, very precisely. Now, obviously, if you want to get technical, you will notice that T and D are a slightly different position in the mouth, but close enough, for the sake of memory, I group them together. This is the letter song, and remember how I showed you the letters pi and boat, where pi had the high circle, unvoiced, and boat had the low circle, voiced? Well, now we have the letter song. The circle is up high, and then you have a half circle below. So this is easy to remember. And then the letter zu, now you have the circle down below to indicate that it's voiced. S, z, s, s. I can take any of these voiced and unvoiced sound combinations and switch between them. The th sound, th, th. And I can also do that for the f sound. F, f, f. As you can see, it's the same mouth position. We simply have the voice box either turned on or off. What's the next letter? The 13th letter, chair. This letter actually looks a little bit like a chair, and so you can see that curve that one could sit on. So this makes it easy to remember. And what about the voiced version of ch, which would be j? Now you drop that curve and you put a vertical line pointing up to tell you that it's voiced. This is the letter gem. And you can remember this by thinking about that line being someone sitting in the chair who is a gem. The letter shoe looks a little bit like a shoe, or two shoes facing out. Now the curve on top is pointing down. Sh, because sh is pronounced a little further back in the mouth from ch, and the voiced version of sh, j, a horizontal line pointing up. I almost called this letter genre, and then I would have a name where its name begins with its sound. But not everyone knows what the word genre means, so I picked the more recognizable word treasure. People will understand that there is a slight exception to the rule in this case. Okay, letter number 17, key. I simply took the K, I rotated it counterclockwise 90 degrees, and I made the horizontal line curved to make it look more beautiful. Looks a little bit like a key as well, or a keyhole. The letter key, the voiced version of k. The letter great, looks like a G with that half curve on the bottom and the circle on top. What happens if we make it long-voiced? The letter wing. There is no English word that begins with the ng sound, so obviously I chose wing. A nice, beautiful word from nature. A horizontal line differentiates it from the letter great. What's the next letter, the first of the semivowels? Letter Y's looks like a W. It's the 180-degree rotation of the letter moon. This looks like a W with a long stick as explained before, so it's as tall as the other consonants. What's the next semivowel? This is the letter rest. This is the short R, and it does look like an R, just facing both ways. R and L both have two forms. This is the consonant version of R. The vowel version is in the word earth. The letter earth is shorter and has a horizontal line to indicate that it's pronounced for a longer time. You can see they are both earth sounds, but there's a difference. Compare these two words. Run, earth. Rinse, firm. One is a harder sound, one is a longer, smoother sound. Now we go to the vowel L. The letter full. This is the vowel L. It's shorter, has the horizontal line. Looks like an L facing both ways. What's the consonant L? Learn. Taller, no horizontal line. Obviously, this letter is a consonant. Letter number 25. Yes. Easily recognizable. Looks very much like a Y, just symmetricized. Easy to remember. Same with number 26. The letter hope. A symmetricized H. Very, very simple. Heh. 27th letter, arise. This is the schwa, a common sound in English, which some people may have a hard time with. It's at the beginning of the words arise, upon, and sometimes when you sloppily say administration. It's also the first vowel in a word like suppose or connect. It doesn't really have a specific shape to it, it's just a kind of empty vowel sound. But it's similar to the ah sound, so it's indicated by a circle with a vertical line. The letter own looks like an O. Pretty simple to remember. Letter 29, food. This looks like a U, makes the oo sound. Every particular sound in English I differentiate to make spelling easy. Letter number 30, book. This is the sound. I took the U and put a horizontal line and a vertical line as well. I also have one with just a horizontal line we're going to get to later. Letter 31, south. Think of it like a, and then oo hanging from it, and it's read from top to bottom. Ow, south. Letter number 32, soy. This is the reverse. Here you have a curve that looks like an E, but no line in the middle. And then you have an O sitting on top. So it's O and then E as you read downwards. And it's the horizontal reverse of the letter south. Letter 33, at. This is the 180-degree rotation of the letter book. Very interesting. That was a modified oo sound. This is a modified A. Horizontal and vertical line for at. The letter and. Notice there's a difference between a and eh. The letter bag. We have 3 different sounds for the short A, and I'll give an example of 3 words for each. For the ah sound, we have cat, bat, and rat. For the eh sound, we have man, can, van. And for the I sound, we have bag, rag, stag. The 3 vowels in each of those 3 groups are different, as you can hear. Therefore, I have a different letter for each. Letter number 36, enter. It's an E spun 90 degrees to the left, and I shortened the stick in the middle to indicate that is the short E sound, which is eh. Letter number 37, in. The short I sound with the curve on the bottom. Simple to remember. Letter number 38, ah. the short O sound, and as you can see, it has the horizontal line instead of the vertical line that was used for the schwa. Letter number 39, up. This is the short U sound, where I have the U shape, or the U shape, and then I have the horizontal line. Pretty simple to remember. Up. Letter number 40, this is the long A sound. Able. Easy to remember. Looks like an A. No special lines in addition. Letter number 41, east. This is the long E, and now the vertical stick is full length instead of shorter as it was with the letter enter. One more letter to go to write American English. The letter I. Curve on bottom, curve on top to differentiate it from the short I sound in the letter in. But we're not done yet because you see, there are people in the northeast of the US and also the UK, Ireland, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand that have two extra vowels. They don't have the cot merger or the father-bother merger like we have in most of the US. They keep cot, C-O-T, what you sleep on, and caught, C-A-U-G-H-T, the past tense of catch, separate. And they also keep father and bother separate. So, my friends from these other countries, in the northeast of the US, I have two letters just for you. Letter number 43, court. I have the vertical line with a little horizontal across it. So to indicate the O sound, you have a letter. Letter 44, bother, for the sound of that first O in bother, or bother as we Americans say it. A horizontal line with a vertical cross. One more special addition before we finish. Letter number 45, middle. You see, the sound, the second vowel in the sounds middle, riddle, or little, it's not quite a T as in Tom, nor is it quite a D as in dog. It's kind of a flap T or a flap D, a short sound. So I have a modified T letter on the left with a line up, or the modified D letter where the horizontal line is shortened. You pick which one you want to use. If you want to specify the flap T or D, those are your letters. Thank you for watching. I think we've covered everything. Now you know the entire New Latin alphabet. Thank you for watching. But because this alphabet is meant to be read, not just memorized, I need to say the same thing in New Latin. Now you know the entire New Latin alphabet. Thank you for watching. We're done. But the New Latin alphabet, as you can see, is symmetrical. Why not write the same thing from right to left? Now you know the entire New Latin alphabet. Thank you for watching. Now we are done. The special bonus will be the alphabet chart, which I'll display on screen now.